Hello, everybody in the world. Yo, 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 your favorite neighborhood host, Jordan. So what's going on, peeps? So I want to explore with you something very sensitive today, right? And it's mental health and trauma and the law. Okay? So, and first things first, I am not a medical professional. I am not a trained psychiatric person. I am not a trained clinical therapist. Yes, I'm a social psychologist, but that means I study the psychology of human behavior in society. I'm not sitting in a room, never have I sit in a room and counseled anybody for that matter. So I need you to hear this, okay? But I have worked with people who have different mental health expressions. I myself and pretty much the whole family all have different neurodiverse expressions, right? So, and I'm a big advocate of diversity across the board anyways. So I want to talk about how we can use the law to heal mental health concerns or childhood trauma, okay? But I am not against anybody going to therapy. In fact, I would encourage you to do that as a part of an overall life plan of using the law as well. So you will find people within this community who are like, nope, you shouldn't do that because that's a second cause, right? However, Neville Goddard was not against people doing this or somehow using things outside of you as help. For example, there's nothing wrong with meditating. In fact, he says that he found it kind of disconcerting that people thought that meditation was hard, okay? And that's an outside tool. So he was not against the idea of people using outside tools. He himself had gone to the doctor, right? So again, but what state are you in? That's his key, okay? And that's very powerful when you are trying to understand childhood trauma or even mental health expressions. Whatever it is what state, and again, to go back through this, a state is simply a collection of beliefs and emotions and perceptive lenses and feelings and reactions and values that you consent to use his word, right? And so that's what a state is. What is your state when you're talking about your own mental health experiences? What is your state when you're talking about your friends' mental health experiences? Is it one of judgment? Is it one of limitation? Like, well, no, they're gonna have to take medicine for the rest of their life, right? Now, is there anything wrong with people who do that? 100% no. But in the sense of using the law and understanding how beliefs impact us, we need to also be very, very self-aware that what ends up happening and what we experience in life is a collection of consented to beliefs, okay? So with that said, why don't we talk about childhood trauma first, okay? So childhood trauma really refers to anybody who's had really nasty, angry, unsettling, unhelpful, violent, sexually abusive, anything along those lines of experiences in their childhood, and now that they've actually identified with them, okay? And so, and by the way, I know the psychosomatics involved. I know the neuroscience involved in trauma. I've studied it, right? And so I want to be very clear that I'm knowledgeable of what I'm talking about here. No, I am not, and I will say it again, a trained professional, but I am knowledgeable and I know what I'm talking about, right? And so what I do want to do though is focus more on looking at childhood trauma from the lens of using the law to heal from it. Again, if you need counseling, go to counseling. Go do that first, right? And so you must be willing to look at the idea of your mental health as being part of a experience, right? Which means that you can also use the law to give yourself a different experience of your mental health, okay? And I'm not going to sit here and claim that you can or you will or you should use the law to get rid of it. To me, that's extremely insensitive, and that's down to someone's own personal journey. Okay. And I'm not going to tell you my opinion on it. That's not what this talk is about today. Okay. But I will give you tips and tools and strategies that are either backed by science itself as well as the law, as Neville Goddard understands it, and how it connects to your own childhood trauma and mental health experiences. And the reason why I started with childhood trauma is because those tend to be the birthplace for mental health expressions. Not all the time, but they do tend to be the place, right? And so if you've ever experienced anything, one of the first areas that you're going to have trouble with is self-worth, is a low self-concept, a low self-esteem, a low self-image. If your parents weren't even physically abusive, but they were verbally abusive, that will impact you equally just as much as so, right? And so that's a narrative. That's a story that your brain has locked into because you had an emotional impacting experience happen to you, okay? And this is not about judgment at all whatsoever. So please don't hear or feel or interpret any of what I'm saying as judgmental at all. This is meant to be helpful, and that's it. So I want to tell you that your experiences are valid. Okay, what that means is they have value. Yes, you can learn from them. Yes, they can make you more of a powerful manifester because you've had them, and so on and so forth. But at the same time, notice that you can use the law and the power of revision, which is an extremely powerful tool from the work of Neville, right? That is all about taking a scene that you've gone through and you've actually inverted it. You've actually reversed it. And that means you must do the actual work of using the imagination to create powerful scenes that are loaded with feelings of the wish fulfilled, which would be, I'm not that person anymore, right? And so how would that person live in this world now? How would that person live in here, right? Choose 3 to 5 scenes of beautiful childhood experiences, and you rehearse them over and over and over again. Do you need the scenes? They help 100%, but you don't need that. Yes, you can do like what Joe Dispenza talks about, which is rehearsing the emotion over and over and over, okay? So I would encourage you to take any childhood trauma and not see it as permanent. That's the first step with childhood trauma, okay? Is to say, okay, this event happened and it caused me to be this particular person that I am now, maybe afraid of the world, afraid of rejection, afraid of yourself, afraid of your body. Whatever it is, it's created a distance between you and that ability to love yourself and accept yourself and value yourself. And you are valued. You're a beautiful person. I don't care if I know you or not, right? And so that story, though, is telling you that you're not. And you don't deserve that story. And that story doesn't deserve you, right? And so you use the power of revision, which is a form of forgiveness, and you're retelling a powerful story. So if you grew up in a poor neighborhood and you were treated a bad or certain way, either because of the color of your skin or because you yourself had some sort of mental health concern or whatever it is, right? Then you rewrite that story by using revision to being the most loved person in your neighborhood, to being the most celebrated, to being the most powerful, the most influential, right? And you use 3 to 5 scenes to retell the story. And you keep doing these scenes until you feel like you're that person, right? And you live in this world now as if you are that person. And it might take a second and it might take some time to actually make sure that you combine the relationship between the subconscious mind and the conscious mind, okay? But be okay with that as a healing process. So I do believe that you can heal. I do believe that you can repair. I do believe that you can restore yourself. But what that does is it leads me to part 2, which is, what if you have depression? What if you have bipolarity? What if you have ADHD like myself? What if you have fill in the blank, autism? And again, I've actually worked with people in all of these areas that I've just labeled, right? As in people who've had bipolar, my foster brother has bipolar depression, right? And so I want to say that my experience is that the law is quite powerful from my own understanding of it. And so part of what we can do is, and this is just behavioral science, is that you can reframe these as opportunities to learn about yourself, right? If it's depression, like, okay, you know what? I get to learn about a deeper part of my emotional psyche. And this is awesome. So you turn it into a positive and a way in which you can self-investigate. And the more that you do that, and the more that you are willing to look at it that way, you actually get interested in the healing process, because you then understand that these things can be healed and restored. And again, maybe part of your journey is to take things like lithium or whatever it is. And again, I'm not telling you what to do or giving you medical advice whatsoever. I am not trained in that at all. But what I want to do is I want to encourage you to be able to think that the law can help and can assist you in healing and restoring you, and actually looking at yourself from that restored point of view and accepting that there is hope and that there is a version of you that has been able to get to a point to either manage this or even get beyond this. Okay? So again, this is meant to be a judgment-free zone, and that you are loved no matter what you're experiencing, but that you can use the law to begin the process of healing. And whatever that is for you, do that, right? Embrace the journey along the way, but also enjoy the fact that you are already a full and complete and powerful and beautiful human being. So much love to you guys all. Thank you for jumping on.